school year often means new friends, sometimes new buildings for the kids and students, and also for administrators and teachers, sometimes new opportunities. And that's what this means for our new Red Mill Elementary School principal, Adam Marshall. Adam, thank you for agreeing to sit down and talk with us and start talking with our Red Mill Elementary families here. So I have known you for 2 years now. We're recording this around June of 2026, so the summertime or so. I've been with the district for 2 years, and in that time that I've known you, you've been at assistant principal at Highland Elementary, Fishing Creek Elementary, and for the last year now, Red Mill Elementary. So tell me what it's like to be in not only multiple buildings in an administrative role, but also to move on and stay here in this community, but now to go to the principal level.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. This is weird, so let's get started. I was telling you before the cameras turned on. Cameras for the past couple of years have been tough for me, so we're gonna sit and I'm gonna do my very best to look at you and not the cameras that are looking at me. Yeah, the past couple of years have been incredible. They've been hard. They've been fun. They've been rewarding, but bouncing from building to building makes you kind of understand there's need everywhere. And when we say need, it's how do we support, right? And so a huge piece of my leadership, or just who I am as a person, is I want to serve. And my dream is to serve communities and teachers and students. And so being able to work at multiple buildings, I've been able to serve a bunch of places, which has been really cool. And seeing West Shore, the demographics when you're Cedar Cliff attendance area down to the Redland attendance area, you see the demographics change a little bit, but you see opportunities to serve everywhere. So
I always like to tell people whenever they ask about the demographics of the district that it's only 5, 6, 7 miles wide, probably longer than that, but just how different the populations that we serve are. Because if I send a message out to the Redland attendance area, I only get a couple of languages and to translate into and that kind of a thing. If I send a message out to the Cedar Cliff attendance area, I get dozens. And so you're not only exposed to a different demographic population, but as you mentioned, different needs. And I think that's also important to clarify, is 3 buildings in 2 years is a reflection upon the need, not a reflection upon Marshall.
That's what they've told me, and I believe that to be true. But so my journey in West Shore has been, I started 2 years with Megan Sharaw over at Highland, and then I moved with Matt Wenzel over at Fishing Creek. And midway through the year, I went back to Highland, so I was splitting time at Highland and Fishing Creek. And then this past year, I was splitting time between Red Mill and Fishing Creek.
For you, what does growth look like whenever you're splitting your time like that? Because as you mentioned also before we started talking, is that you've learned to have your feet planted firmly where you are, no matter what meeting you're in, what interview you're in, that kind of a thing. But what is it like splitting your time like that over the past several years and serving those very different needs?
It's been prioritizing, right? Like the idea of, I know this needs to be done, and I know this can be done, but it doesn't necessarily have to get done today. Or this has to be done when students are in the building, and then I can do this after hours. And so prioritizing has been something that I've learned. So being at Highland for the first 2 years, I was there every day. And I realized what the job looked like. And it was really good to be trained there, to be able to figure out what the job looks like, right? I was walking in, I was young, I was bright-eyed, I was bushy-tailed, but I didn't know my way. And so having those 2 years of being able to figure out, hey, this is essential, and then this is something that can kind of be kind of pushed off or finished at a different day, helps me for a split where you're like, this has to get done today.
Well, in particular, because you were walking into an administrative environment where you hadn't taught before. In terms of in this district, you had taught in another district and then come here as an assistant principal first. So before we get to all of that, tell me a little bit about Adam Marshall, the person, before he was an assistant principal, before he was a kindergarten and 3rd grade teacher in another district. Where are you from? Give some folks some idea of where you came from, your college, all that kind of stuff.
So grew up in Lancaster County, product of Cocalico High School. My elementary journey is a little bit different. Went to a private little elementary school, Lidditz area Mennonite school. So a little Mennonite school. Class sizes of 30, 40 kids. So a tiny little school, grew up, but sports were something that were unbelievably important to me. And so, and to my family. And so once we got to Sixth grade, that's when public sports, like I couldn't just play rec sports anymore.
Oh,
So
okay.
sixth grade hit, and it was, all right, it's time to go to Cocalico to the public school.
Yeah. What
Which,
were your sports?
So baseball, basketball, golf,
Okay.
but baseball was the passion, and so baseball is what kind of carried me through, and academics always came pretty naturally to me. So school was fun.
Yeah.
I've always loved school. I've had great relationships with my teachers, but baseball was why I was there.
All right, what position?
So I pitched and I
Okay.
played first base in high school, and then
So that aligns with basketball because it's the tall position.
yeah, I was a tall guy. I mean, I was 6 foot something in ninth grade, and then I just stopped growing. So I thought I was going to be huge, and I was just like a normal sized person.
Yeah.
But baseball carried me, and then I went to Messiah College, which was now Messiah University, which was one of the best choices, one of the most humbling experiences to be able to go play baseball there.
So your major was?
So I started in business.
Okay.
Yeah, and this is probably a good piece of who I am in my journey here. So I'm sitting in just like an economics class.
Yeah.
And it's probably, I don't know, November.
Of which year?
My first year.
Okay.
And something hit me. I was like, what are you doing here?
Uh-huh.
And I realized, like, I'm just here because I thought I wanted to make a lot of money.
Uh-huh.
I want to do business because I wanted to make money. I was like, that's not who I am. Like, that's not. I'm a people person. I'm a servant leader. I want to be in a place in which I have change and difference, and money doesn't mean everything to me. Now, of course, I want to be able to survive and provide for my family, but I went right to the registrar's office that day, and was like, hey, I got to switch. Like,
Okay.
Education is where I need to be because I need to be with people.
Okay.
So the second semester of my freshman year, I flipped, thank goodness, because it didn't delay. Like, I was just doing gen eds, so it didn't delay any graduation or anything like that. But it was like, what are you doing? Like, I'm not here for money. I'm here for people.
Why did you decide education was the best place for you to serve people, and specifically, when did the elementary piece come
Yeah, good question. So I was tied. It was like, I wanted milestone years. That was like the most important thing. And I was like, first grade's a milestone year, fifth grade's a milestone year. And then fifth grade, so the certification is pre-K to 4 or 5 through 8. And I was like, where can I make the most difference? And I thought back to actually going back to my elementary school. I got in a little bit of trouble as a kid, right? Like, I was a bit of a troublemaker. I know my parents were called in for some meetings for me being a knucklehead.
Golfing with you, I would never know.
Yeah. Never know. So being a little knucklehead, and I had a teacher, Mr. Gardner. He was a wonderful, wonderful teacher who saw me for me and corrected me and was tough on me, but loved me really well. And he is a huge reason why I was like, oh, our kids need role models in their lives, and I needed specifically a male role model to be somebody to look up to, and somebody who I respected and I trusted and who cared for me. And I have a ton of men in my life who've shaped who I am. But Mr. Gardner was one of those reasons, like, oh, I can be that for other people. Yeah. So I wanted a milestone year, and I was always elementary. So I decided first grade was closer to where I wanted to be, because fifth grade was outside of that certification. I thought I could have more impact in the elementary.
You mentioned milestone years, and you only ever considered elementary, but why? Why did you say I don't want to become a middle school English teacher or a high school math teacher or what was it about the younger kids?
Ones. Yeah. I think this is going to sound crazy because I don't think this is many people's experience, but like, middle school and high school were the easy parts for me. Yeah. Elementary school is where I like that self-regulation and executive functioning. Mixed in, I mean, sports has a piece of this, mixed in with all my competitive nature, got me in a lot of trouble. And so I feel like the most impact of my life has been elementary. Like, that was where I was being steered into. I don't know. I don't know if that answers the question.
No, I think it does. Yeah. You and your former cohort over Fisher Creek, Matt Wenslow, said similar things where you said, I could just teach kindergarten all the time. Yeah. And I'd be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
So I understand.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, that's how I feel. When I left third grade, I told my wife, I was like, I could do third grade the rest of my life. Yeah. So I went to kindergarten because I was like, I need something hard. And boy, oh boy, teaching kindergarten is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. Oh my goodness.
So after
Yeah.
Messiah,
Yes.
you journeyed up. Did you tell me to Berks County right after
Yeah.
that?
So I started teaching in Twin Valley. Got a job right away. I was so blessed. Like, I mean, it's
Third?
crazy. I taught fourth grade. So
Okay.
I was teaching fourth grade, and I was there for a little bit of time because, like smart people do, the March of my senior year, I started dating my now wife. So, right, it's brilliant. It's like, hey, we don't live close to each other. And we're like, hey, do you know what'd be really smart? Let's start dating with a month and a half left of school. So we started dating. I go home. She gets a job in Mechanicsburg.
Okay.
So she's also an educator.
Yeah.
And I'm teaching out in Berks County, and every weekend driving out to see her. So my turnpike bill is through the roof.
Sure.
And I was like, I'm going to marry this girl. What am I doing? So I talked to a buddy who's up here, and I was like, hey, can I bunk with you? Can I live with you if a job pops up? And so in Northern York, a job came up, and it was going to be right after the holiday break. So I applied to that. I got that job, and so I moved out here.
So you started teaching in Northern in what year?
So it would have been the 2016-2017 school year.
Okay.
But I guess because it was after the holiday break, it would have been 2017.
Okay.
And started teaching third grade there.
Okay.
And it was Wellsville Elementary.
It was kindergarten teaching. You started at third grade in Northern, and you went down to kindergarten at Northern for a while?
Yeah.
You see people all the time, teachers all the time, go from third to fourth or second to third, and maybe just make a bump here or there. Third to kindergarten is a completely different story.
Yeah.
Other than the challenge for yourself. So tell me about what that was like.
Yeah. So I've always been told it's easier to start younger and move your way up, right? Yeah. Because as they get older, you don't have to be quite as explicit with your directions. So I thought, what a great thing to do was to start high and then go as low as you can get. And they leave kindergarten and they are reading on grade level, or kindergarten, first grade. It predicts third grade, and third grade predicts eighth grade. It's like you can tell the trajectory of a child's life from kindergarten to first grade. I was like, oh my goodness, this is so important. And I think I'm really good at this, which there's a bit of an arrogance, right? Like there's a bit of I think I'm a really good teacher. And so I went to my principal, I want to be your guy. And she's like, I don't know. She called me and she was like, hey, Adam, I want you to teach kindergarten next year. And I said, I didn't think this was ever possible. What did I sign up for? I thought this was never going to happen. So so that happened in March 2020. We went home. That was
no.
So March 13th, 2020 was my last day teaching third grade. And I came back the next school year teaching after the COVID break. Start back in September. And so I'm trying to teach kids how to read, and we've got masks on, and we got distancing, and it was just a wild time of me learning how to teach 5-year-olds. Yeah. In exciting 5-year-olds because we're excited we're back, right? Yeah. Everybody's pumped to be with kids again. And it's after that break, so it's the hardest time to teach, and it's the hardest thing to teach. Yeah. And I'm like, I'm all in. Yeah. And I'm also doing my principal internship. Right. So I'm cutting out circles after school, and then I'm working on the building schedule for the following year. It was a wild ride.
What made you realize that during that time, because you're bouncing around from Berks County to Northern, from third grade to kindergarten, and also say, not everybody wants to be an administrator. True. Not everybody wants to go to the assistant principal or principal route. So as you're making all those changes in your life, what made you also want to go ahead and set yourself up for that path?
Yeah, I think it's always been relationships. I've had such great relationships with kids, but families especially have been really, really important to me. And it's like you have a pocket of 20 kids. You build these really, really deep relationships. You have this crazy impact. And then they kind of move on. And you see the parents, and you still have some relationship with them, right? And they're, they run into you at the holiday party, or they catch you at the grocery store, and you catch up, and you're like, man, I miss you, and I'm trying to catch up on your kid. But then it's like, okay, I'm an assistant principal. Now I got 5 years with these kids, 6 years with these kids. Yeah. And these families, man, the relationships with these families are so deep, and there's so many of them. And so I think the impact is really important to me. I thought I loved teaching, and when people are like, hey, do you miss teaching? I miss teaching every day. I love it. I've loved it. Creating that classroom culture and that family that you have in your room is it's so special. But I love that now that culture and that family continues to carry on like year after year.
So what is it about West Shore that attracted you there at first and then has kept you here for now entering year 4 or 5 for you?
Yeah. So sports again have had something that's really important to me. And this is just like, I didn't know much about West Shore, even though Northern was
Neighbor.
a 5-minute drive to Redland. Wellsville to Redland High School was super close. I didn't really know that. And my high school baseball team now, it would have been years after I was teaching. I had a really successful year, and they were in the district championship. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I looked, I was like, oh, they're playing at Redland for the district championship. I'm going to pop over and watch the game. So I went over to Redland, knowing nothing about West Shore. This is a month before I apply. And I get to Redland, and the whole hill is covered with people. This is the year I know Montgomery was there, Wagner was there, right? Their team was a really solid team. And I'm walking down, and it was funny. It was first pitch. Benny Montgomery put a ball on the top of the school. I thought it was hilarious. Redland ended up smoking Cocalico, which is great. But
conflicted.
I didn't know I was conflicted then. I was bummed for Cocalico. But I was like, oh my goodness, there's passion here, right? Like, and there's like excellence. Right? I strive. A huge part of me is like, we're striving for excellence, and I look for excellence, and I try to surround myself with people who expect excellence. And the baseball program, I was like, oh my goodness, this is crazy. I don't know how many people were there, but there wasn't a spot to sit on that hill. And so that stuck in my mind. And I saw West Shore pop up. Really, if I wouldn't have went to that baseball game, I don't know if I'm interested in going to West Shore.
What is it about the last several years as an assistant principal in multiple buildings that has paved the way for you to move up to this principal role here at Red Mill, do you think? And what is it, other than the job opportunity that came up, what is it about Red Mill that you're excited about?
Yeah, well, the journey of getting to work with 3 different administrators has been so crucial for me. And at the time,
3 different styles?
100%. What I've learned is you can lead being you. Right, so I get to be authentically Adam Marshall when I lead Red Mill.
For better or for worse?
For better or for worse. I started at Highland, and again, I was a kid, right? I rolled into Highland at 28 years old. Like I was one of the youngest people in that building.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I got to show my worth, and so I was straight laced. I was a go-getter, but I was firm. But I this Highland people will poke fun at me now and be like, man, you were just a kid trying to figure it out. And I was. But Megan Sherrill let me figure it out, and I learned West Shore a little bit. But I was going to wear a suit every day to work. Then I go to Fishing Creek with Matt Wenzel, and the suit turns into inflatables. Right, we're wearing inflatables to work. We're sleeping on the roof. Right, like and I was like, oh my goodness. What we're doing is serious work, but we don't always have to take ourselves so seriously. Yeah. And I grew exponentially because of Matt Wenzel, and I hate him for it because now I'm like silly, and I'm like, well, this is not who I am. But then I brought a little bit of that to Red Mill here, and it was like, oh my goodness, what a culture builder that is, right? Like we're gonna work hard, and we're gonna do what's best for kids, and we're gonna love them, and we're gonna teach them every single day, but we're also going to be goofy because we're working with kids sometimes.
Well, yeah, and you served at Red Mill under the now new director of elementary education, Ryan Devaney, who's taking the place of Dave Harrison, who retired this past year after 12 years in the district and 30 plus years in education. So what excites you most about taking this role, not only for your career, but also specifically here?
Yeah, man, Red Mill is a cool place, right? And I think the people, I'm still trying to come up with the best term for this, and this is not the best term, but the people here bleed Red Mill, right? Like it's just there's a Red Mill pride, there's a Red Mill community. When you're in Red Mill, you feel it, and it's just a culture that you're just like, it just fires me up. There's an expectation of excellence, but there's also an expectation of humility, right? We are here to serve. This is serious work. But we're not always going to take ourselves so serious. But I think what excites me here is is the people.
What is your message and your hopes for Red Mill families as we head to the new school year?
I want them to just feel like they're so much a part of Red Mill, the school. Because Red Mill, the school, while it's one piece of our community, it's kind of the hub.
Mhm.
And so I want everyone that's involved to feel like they're a member of this team. Because ultimately, we are teaming with families and community for the betterment of our kids. Everything we do is for these kids. That's another piece of West Shore that's like, oh man, everything we do is for these kids. So I don't want families to be like, I'm sending you my kids and then I get them back. It's like, hey, we are doing this together. So I want next year for them to feel like, hey, we're a team. And so yeah, I want them to go into next year going, hey, we're a team. And I'm so blessed and I'm so humbled and I am so excited.
Adam Marshall, thank you very much.
Thanks, Brayden.